You are not worthy to receive these 10 commandments.
We will not live by your commandments. We're free.
There is no freedom without the law.
Whose law, Moses? Yours? Did you carve those tablets to become a prince over us?
Who is on the Lord's side? Let him come to me.
Moses! He showed you no land flowing with milk and honey. I show you a God of gold. Come with me.
Blasphemers! Idolaters!
For this you shall drink bitter waters. God has set before you this day his laws of life and good and death and evil. Those who will not live by the law shall die by the law.
Yes, good evening and welcome back to my little channel here. And the Sabbath day is over and I am full of energy. I had every intention of doing this last night. However, I couldn't make because I was just too exhausted. The sun was just too hot. These past few days I've been out and about in the sun, trying to organize stuff for my house here, to put a little food on the table and so on. And the sun was just too hot, my friend. Oh my gosh. And I just was like, by the time I got home, I was like flabbergastedly tired. And my wife said to me, she said, "You looks very tired. Better you go and sleep tonight, you know." And I said, "Nah, I'll do the thing." But then I say, when you're doing something for Almighty God, you must always try to do it to your best. So to go on a live when I'm looking not my best, but I've not been the best decision, you see. So I decided that I would relax, take a sleep. We went through we did our worship today and so on. And now that I am a little bit more rested and that we can now come out and do a live this evening, that will be a little better, you know, in quality and so on. Just trying to check something here before we push forward. Yeah, my live not showing up on YouTube. That is the problem here now. But anyway, we'll do what we always do and edit and we post. I ain't seen it here nowhere at all. Anyways, I thank those who viewed my content this week. I put out a few videos this week, all be them short, but I put out some videos this week, and I thank those who would have commented and so on the videos. And talking about that, we are in a terrible situation. We are in a terrible situation, right? At this time, and I am very, very concerned about where the church is at this time. Yeah, I am extremely concerned about the state of things that are happening around us at this time, you know. All right, so I now make the live stream on YouTube public, right? Right. So I hope people could see it. Right. So YouTube is telling me they're not getting enough information, but it is live. Right. So let us focus now. Yeah. So what I am seeing happening around us in the church, in the Adventist church, it is a bit troubling to say the least. You know, it is very, very troubling. I don't like the direction in which things are playing out, but I will just have to say that these things must come to pass in order for God's work to be finished. Right? These things must come to pass because you are seeing a lot of, from the ecumenical movement, from people openly and straightforward, direct as can be now, attacking the spirit of prophecy, right? In that they are saying openly that Ellen White writings has to go. Then you are seeing that the young people in the church is reading the Bible and don't understand what they are reading. They are not understanding it clearly, and they are making fundamental mistakes. One young pastor had to be removed from the church. Well, he resigned on his own because he read one section in the Bible where Paul preached Saturday night into Sunday morning, and for that reason, he believes that people are allowed, it is room, he's saying there's room for people to worship on a Saturday and on a Sunday, when God's word is clear, when God's law is clear. You understand? And so, and when you look at that now, that situation in the context of the mark of the beast, I don't know how he became a pastor and working with the youth arm of the church and was actually in charge of a section of the church. So all of these things are happening all around us. And on top of that, the latest thing is wherein we see in Loma Linda, where we see that the Adventist people there had to protest. Or I'm hearing today now that Ted Wilson had to step in and stop this meeting with the Catholics and the Adventists, right? And that meeting and all that meeting alone is cause a lot of concern. Cause a lot of concern, you know. It caused a lot of concern where we are seeing this situation here cancel falling a collective protest. Right? That is what is staying here. This meeting where at Loma Linda University, which is one of our premier universities in our faith, right? That's where I think the medical arm of our church is really at, and it's a university, and they had this whole planned business here with the Adventism and Catholics in a changing world, right? What we could learn from each other, right? Cancel Adventism and Catholicism in a changing world. That thing has been cancelled, and then I'm understanding now that it was later at another venue, right? And then what I see coming out of that now, the persons there are attacking what Ellen White said in the book Great Controversy. And the end result of that is that the Catholic Church is calling for the General Conference to apologize. It is not easy, my friends. Where we seeing things progressing, it's either you be excited or you be very frightened and worried. You understand? Because what we are seeing is rapid steps, because it is clear to me. I put out a video saying that, and that is based on the talk that happened in the talk that was given in that program that they had off campus, right? They went to another location and had that same talk, right? And when they had that same talk now, I was a bit worried because when I looked at what they were saying there, I was like, are they trying to say that we have to worship on a Sunday? You understand? So I was of the opinion that they are trying to lead the Adventist church back to Rome, because when you look at it, every church, when you look at Revelation chapter 17, you will notice that the Catholic Church has daughters. All of those daughters, all those Protestant churches who protested what the Catholic Church stood for, and that's why we got Martin Luther and all these fellas that came out of the Catholic Church and started the Great Reformation. These people, all those churches, after those founding fathers have died off, have gone back to the Catholic Church. Okay? They have all gone back to the Catholic Church. And it is sad. It is really, really sad. You understand? And I can't understand for the life of me what is going on. Right? Because when all of them have gone back, right? When all of them now have gone back, the only church that have not gone back yet is the Adventist church. The Adventist church has not yet gone back.
Hello family, welcome back.
Right? I'll put up a little clip here that I observed where this guy is clearly showing that Jesuits are in the Adventist church. Right? It clearly shows that the Jesuits are active in the Adventist church, and they are now coming out. They are coming out in the open. They are coming out in the open. Right? They are coming out in the open. They don't seem to care.
The papacy for the change of sound. In Daniel 8:13, John Andrews thought that he had found proof that the papacy had changed the day. In 1982, Review and Herald published a book of Adventist scholarship, up-to-date Adventist scholarship, that demonstrated that Andrews' conclusion was incorrect. The rise of first-day observance was much more complex. But even in our popular evangelism today, we still blame the papacy for the change of sound. In Daniel 8:13 and 14, we claim a mandate to preach the true understanding of the high priesthood of Christ in the heavenly sanctuary over against the Catholic teaching of the Mass. Thus, our negative perceptions of Catholicism lie very close to our core sense of identity and our sense of mission as Adventists, simply part of our DNA. The discomfort with your suggestions about revisiting these attitudes perhaps is understandable. Does your presentation today, Dr. Brunswick, imply that we might need to move beyond the anti-Catholic undergirding mandates for these teachings?
There ain't no way. It have no way. There is no way we are going to change from what we believe. All right? Now, if the pastors in the Adventist church who are paid by the conference have to mash them out, there are many, many persons like me, Brother Lawrence, all these different people, right, that have access to the internet and has a voice. And if even the banners of the internet will go on the side of the road. Understand? There is no way that rank and file Adventists, core believers of Adventist principles, will ever agree with what our Mr. was now saying there. Right? There is no way. There is no way. There is no way. Right? I don't care what degree, what doctorate. It doesn't matter. Right? It doesn't matter. what they have, what they ain't have, we don't really care. Understand? We're not going along with that. Okay? It is not going to happen. Right? We have to, it's just not going to happen. They could say what they want, they could do what they want. There is no way on God's green earth that we will just sit down and just say, well, all right, the Catholic Church is this and that. No. Okay? That ain't gonna happen. Right? Okay? That is not going to happen. No day, no time, no way. Revelation 12:9 identifies the dragon as Satan. But Satan worked through human agencies. In Revelation 12, the dragon working through pagan Rome attempts to destroy Christ. Right? So there where they try to destroy Christ, working through the Catholic Church. Yeah? So we don't know already what them is about. Right? We already know what them, right? We already know what them they are all about. And there was given unto him a mouth to speak great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 40 and 2 months to open his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle in heaven. So we know full well that Satan is out there doing what he want, making all kind of manama. Right? The prophecies are there. The 42 months, 1260 years. Right? It is there. Right? It is there. Right? 42 months, 1260 years. I have given you a day for a year. It is very, very clear. Everything is laid out. They cannot come now and say Rome has changed. Rome cannot change. There is no ecumenical movement here with us. Right? And all these learned men in all these universities in Loma Linda and Oakwood and all these big seminaries, Adventist and Catholic seminaries, there are no common ground between the Adventists and the Catholics. We don't want that. Right? Right? Satan will never shake hands. I mean, Jesus will never shake hands with Satan. So why we must shake hands with the Catholics? Right? I'm not talking about the Catholic people, no. I'm talking about the Catholic system, the belief system. We cannot align ourselves with that. That is madness. Right? The Catholic Church started in 538. Valgalas ascended the papal chair in 538 AD under a military protection of Belisarius. Right? So we have all the dates here. We have everything here. We have all the evidences here. Right? Right? The legally recognized supremacy of the Pope began in 538 AD when they went on into effect and declare by a decree of Emperor Justinian, making the Bishop of Rome head over all the churches and the definer of doctrine and correct. And we comment on that. Right? So we see where we have the history, and I'm giving you more detail because I always teach about Revelation 13, but tonight I'm just going into a more deeper detail, getting more points. I got some more slides so we could get it more detail, right? So we see where the Roman Church has been formed, and before it was pagan Rome, where you had all these pagan beliefs and so on, right? Where you had the Roman Empire, right? They switched over to papal Rome, right? Where the supreme power now is the head of the church is the Pope, which he still became. It was like no difference. It just switched from from one being an emperor to one being a priest, but the priest is still like an emperor. Right? Right? La Banca, professor of history in the University of Rome, says, to the succession of the Caesar came the successor of the pontiff in Rome. When Constantine left Rome, he gave his seat, and that's why the Pope is also known as Maximus. I forget the word. Right? History identified this power. The transfer of the empire residence to Constantinople was a sad blow to the prestige of Rome. At the time, one might have predicted a speedy decline, but the development of the church and the growing authority of the Bishop of Rome or the Pope gave her a new lease on life and made her again the capital. Right? This time, the religious capital of the civilized world. Right? So we have the history here tonight. We have all the history. We've got a lot of quotations. I'm not sure if I'll be able to go through every one, but there's a lot here. Right? Revelation 13:7. Right? Revelation 13:7. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and power was given him over all. Do you believe that? Do you understand that? Every tongue and nation, right? Every tongue and nation is under the auspices of the Pope. And you better believe it. Right? You better believe it, because that is what is going on now. That is what is going on before our very eyes. Every nation, all of them is under the auspices of the Pope. You don't believe that, eh? But that is how it is, because all the laws of this land is given with a lot of input from the Catholic Church. Even in Adventism, I understand this week here that when Adventists is going to set up universities all in Australia to get the university there certified, they had to employ that came out in that same conference there, where they're saying there are commonalities. But those things are small things. We talk about spiritual things, them talking about them help us with some law to get our school accredited. That is why we should join with them. That is the kind of old talk them coming with there, right? In this ecumenical movement, right? We don't want no ecumenical movement, my friend. Right? The rank and file members who have the head screw on, right, do not want no economical movement. Right? Want no economical movement. Right? The Pope filled the palace of the Vatican Roman emperors at Rome, inheriting their power, prestige, and titles from paganism. Constantine left all to the Bishop of Rome. The papacy is but a ghost of the deceased Roman Empire sitting crowned. The Roman Empire died, right? Pagan Rome died. Papal Rome come in, and it's like no difference, right? It's like no difference. And they continue what Justinian was doing. They continued. The church has persecuted. Only a trio in Christian history will deny that. Right? So, the church left, right, and center. Left, right, and center. Left, right, and center. Right? The church may have divine right. Right? Confiscating the property of heretics. Right? Imprison their persons and condemn them to the flames. In our age, the right to inflict the severest penalties, even that belong to the church, the Catholic Church. Right? There is no graver offense than heresy. Therefore, it must be rooted out. Look what we quoted from there. They must root out heresy. You know what is a heretic? A heretic is a person like me who reading the Bible for themselves and not depending on a Catholic priest. That is what they believe is a heretic. Right? And I saw one of the heads as it was wounded to death. Right? and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. Right? Let's take this one a little slow. And I saw that one of his heads, as it were, wounded. What that text is talking about there, right, is when France, atheistic France, used a Tobagonian, Bertha, to arrest the Pope and put him in a dungeon, and it died. That the entire faith of the Catholic Church died. Not the faith, but the political arm of the church died. When that Pope was put in incarceration, and I understand he was put in a dungeon where it was deep underground, snow, and no heating. So he basically froze to death. Right? So, in 1798 is when that incident happened. And look, we have the timeline here. When it started, I told you when it started with Justinian, and it ended when Napoleon recalled Bertha from Tobago. And that is why I call him a Tobagoan, because he was a general, a French general that was stationed in Tobago. He was recalled to France, and I think his first assignment was to arrest the Pope. He arrested the Pope in 1797, and in 1978 he was in dungeon in chains, and the Catholic Church, the political end of the Catholic Church more or less ended. So we see where the persecution now of the Catholic Church seemed to have been ceased a little bit, right? And at that same time, 1798, guess what was happening around that same time, right? And I saw one of his head that it was wounded to death. Around that same exact time, my friends, we saw the Americans coming in, the American state being formed, right? Here's the other quotation here. In 1798, Bertha made his entrance into Rome, abolished the papal government, the government, and established a secular one, the encyclopedia. Right? So we see where, when Bertha came through, he entered Rome, right? And I have here also, the exact date. Bertha entered Rome on the 10th of February, 1798, and proclaimed a republic, right? So I was a little bit wrong with my history just now there. We have it in the quotation here. Half Europe, through Rome's veto, would be obeyed, and that with the Pope and papacy was dead, the modern papacy, right, half of Europe thought Napoleon's veto would be obeyed, and that with the Pope and the papacy was the way the thing went politically, right? Church History, page 24. States, the murder of a Frenchman in Rome in 1798 gave the French an excuse for occupying the eternal city and putting an end to the papal temporary power. The aged pontiff himself was carried off into exile to Venice. The enemies of the church rejoiced. The last pope, they declared, had resigned. Right? We see here now, where we're moving on now, to Revelation 13 verse 3. Right? 13 verse 3. Right? And I saw one of his head that it was wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all after some time, the Catholic Church regained his power. Right? Right? And power was given unto him over all kindreds and tongue and nations. I read earlier on. And some people don't seem to believe that. Right? But he is ruling over all the world. Right? Right? And they worship the dragon which gave power unto the beast, and they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him? And he, right, shall worship him. Those names are not written, right? Whose names are not written in the Lamb's book of life, slain from the foundation of the world. That is Revelation 13 verse. Right? So we see whereby if your head is not screwed on right, if you don't have the faith of Jesus Christ, if you don't understand the prophecies, if you don't understand the testimonies, you will end up taking the mark of the beast. Right? You have to make up your mind to get your name written in the Lamb's Book of Life. And there are some people with the name will never wrote there. Right? I used to be with a lady that I talked to that lady all her, send all kind of videos. And that lady said, tell me, don't send no more videos. She's not changing. She's not coming out of where she is. I don't know if it's because of pride or whatever. She's not changing. And there is some people, the name is just not written in the Lamb's Book of Life. Right? In the Lamb's Book of Life. Right? The Jews answered him, saying, for a good work we stone thee not, but for blasphemy, and because thou art being a man. Right? So we see where the Catholic Church is putting up themselves and their priests and their pope in the position of God. Here's what it says in 2 Thessalonians 2:4. What does it say? He opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself. And this is the madness that we are going through here since 538. The Pope is showing himself as God, whether we like it or not. Right? Right? The Pope is of so great dignity and so exalted that he is not a mere man, but as it were God and the vicar of God. That is what they have it. He is the vicar of God. That is what he's saying. Right? Blasphemy. Watch it again here. And the scribes and the Pharisees began to reason, saying, who is this which speaketh blasphemies? Who can forgive sins but God alone? So the Pharisees are saying, but only when Christ was forgiven sin and so on, the Pharisees perceived Christ as a mere man. So they reasoned that he was committing blasphemies. What does the Catholic Church, what does the Pope do? What does all these priests do? You go to confession and they forgive your sins. And this is a major blunder. Right? This thing is affecting Jesus Christ in heaven. How many Catholics we have on earth? We have nearly 2 billion Catholics on earth. And all of them confessing to the priests. So when those prayers supposed to be going up as sweet incense into the heavenly sanctuary, and Jesus offering it up to God, 2 billion people prayers not going up there. That is why they say the sanctuary in heaven trampled underfoot. You don't understand what's going on yet, eh? And for there is one God and one mediator between God and man. I don't know how the Catholics reach to appoint popes and priests as a mediator. Or even Mary. Right? Right? All names which is in Scripture are applied to Christ, by virtue of which it is established that he is over the church. All the same names are applied to. I don't lie, you know. I pull the thing from the people and them books, and you're seeing for yourself what they are seeing. They are saying that all names which is in Scripture are applied to Christ, by virtue of which it is established that he is over the church. All the same names apply to the Pope. So what they are saying is the Pope is God. That's what they're saying. If all don't understand it. Right? God himself is obliged to abide by the judgment of his priests, and neither not to pardon or to pardon according to the refuse, right? Or give absolution. The sentence of the priest proceeds and God subscribes to it. Here is, in that quotation there, is that the priests and them had the same power of God, or even more power than God. Right? Even more power than God. Right? The poor sinner, kneels at his confessor's feet. He knows he is not speaking to an ordinary man, but this is what these people wrote in their books, my friends. Right? So if you're out there looking on, right, you will see for yourself. This is what the Catholic Church has stated, that is another Christ. Right? So we see in where right? If any man have ear, let them hear. He that leadeth into captivity must go into captivity, and who that is killed with the sword must be killed with a sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints, Romans. Right? We are seeing where all these things are coming to pass. Right? Now, what is happening before us now? This is what is very, very relevant. This is actual present truth at this time. And I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and it had two horns like a lamb. That's the other day I put out a video. Is America speaking like a dragon? It has been speaking like a dragon for many, many years. But some of us not hearing it. We're not really understanding. Right? John Wesley, in his notes on Revelation 13, wrote in 1754, says that the two-horned beast, right? He is not yet come, though he is not by far off, for he is to appear at the end of the 40 and 2 months of the first. What John Wesley was saying here is that when the 40 and 2 finish, right? That is when you will see America coming into play, and right on time with prophecy. It happened like clockwork, my friends. It happened like clockwork, right? That he came on right on time, right on time. The Catholic Church, America came in just as France and the political power of the Catholic Church and send them in the underground. The American nation came up. The rise of the U.S. 1776, Declaration of Independence. 1783, independence acknowledged. 1787, Constitution framed. 1791, Bill of Rights added. 1798, the end of the 42 months, they are recognized. The Bible is clear. The prophecies are real. Right? 1863, right? 1863, slaves emancipated. The Bible is very, very clear. Right? The Bible is very clear. Right? And at that time, it was a lamb. Right? Look at what it was, a lamb. Right? Look at what it says here. Congress shall make no law, right, respecting the establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise. At that time, it was a lamb, right? Look at what it says here again, right? Look at what it says here again. But no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust. Under the lamb, my friends. Look at it again, my friends. Look at it again. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by the Creator with certain inalienable of rights, my friends. So they have been speaking like a lamb. A nation speaks through its laws. Okay? Right? And even this one, right? And even this one here, among these are life, liberty, right? And those are the fundamental lamb qualities of America. America came up just as the Catholic, just as the Bible said, after 42 months is 1,260 days. A day for a year. 1,260 years. Justinian started in 538. Right? It ended in 1798 when Berthier, who was a governor right here in Tobago, right? And he went back to France and arrested the Pope and locked him up in a dungeon where he froze to death, barefooted, right? Like a dog. Right? But no. Right? But no. We are seeing 1311. And this is coming up on us very, very soon. Right? Because this is my favorite text of scripture. This is my favorite text of scripture. Right? And then the dragon was enraged with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. Right? Went to make war with the rest of our offspring, well, the remnant of our seed, those who keep the commandments of God and have and hold to the testimony. Right? So the dragon is coming. Right? The dragon is coming. Right? Because a lot of people in Europe was under the persecution between 538 to 1798, and a lot of them before 1798 would have left. Because they were fed up of the persecution, and they went jump on the Mayflower and they came over to America in Newfoundland. Right? He will speak as a dragon. He will speak as a dragon. Right? The state has not the right to leave every man free to embrace whatever religion he shall deem true. The church has the right to require that the Catholic religion shall be the religion of the state, to the exclusion of all others. Cursed be those who assert liberty of conscience and of worship, and such that maintain that the church may not employ force. The syllabus of Pope Pius the 9th. December. You hear what they're saying here? They want to attack the liberty of conscience since 1864. And that is what they have been working to. So this is why you are seeing what you are seeing happen within the Adventist church, where all kind of false doctrines and craziness happening, right? Where you see the spirit of Balaam, right? You see the spirit of Balaam. Yes. You are seeing the spirit of Balaam entering into. And I spoke about it.
To be promiscuous refers to the sin of those who pervert the grace of God into the license of immorality. Right? One trait of false teachers in the church is that they attempt to turn Christian liberty into freedom to be promiscuous. Right? Putting these ideas together gives a clear view of the doctrine of Balaam. It is this attitude that can be fully cooperative with the world and still serve God. That is madness. We cannot be in the world and serve the church. The doctrine of Balaam teaches compromise, wanting Christians to forget they are called to be separate and holy. The doctrine of Balaam makes believers indistinguishable from the unbelieving world. The doctrine of Balaam is the belief that a little sin doesn't hurt, especially if there's some financial or personal benefit involved.
That is the spirit of Balaam that is coming among us in Adventism today. The spirit of Balaam. You understand? A little sin. Just a little bit. Right? Let the praise and worship be this way. Let me bring in a tongue speaking. Let us be like the world. That is what is happening. And what we are not seeing, that is the physical manifestation. But the spiritual manifestation is that when you read in the book of I think is it Deuteronomy, boy? Is it Deuteronomy? Let me pull up some text here for you guys. No, Numbers 27. Right? Numbers 22 verse 7, sorry. Right? When you read these texts, you get a little different understanding of what is going on with us today. And the elders of the Moabites and the elders of the Midian departed, right, with the rewards of divination in their hand. And they came to Balaam and spake to him words of Baal. Sorry, words of Balak. Right? And then 18 says, and Balaam answered and said unto the servants of Balak, if Balak would give me his house full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the word of my God to do less or more. And this is the stance we have to have with the Catholic Church. We cannot go beyond what God has said in his word. If we go beyond, we'll get ourselves in problems. Anytime we go beyond, it's because we'll put ourselves in problems. Anytime we do that. You understand? But people are not understanding where we are in the prophetic time stream. And God's anger was kindled because he went, right? And the angel of the Lord stood in the way of the adversary against him. Now that he was riding upon his ass and his two servants were with him. Right? So my friends, we see here where all of these things are happening and we are still progressing. And the angel of the Lord is telling you, people are speaking out, don't go down that road, don't go down that road, but they are going. But as one pastor said, as I was listening, Skeet before I came on here, Pastor Skeet was saying, these things that's happened, right? Don't get vexed because God has allowed certain things to happen for certain other things to happen. You understand? So we have seen a lot of situations within the church, right? Where we are now mingling ourselves with other churches. We've seen Pastor Bird trying that, and it's a long time I've been observing that. He started with I forget this guy. He brought in different artists over time, right? He bring in the other artists, but most times when you bring in people, most times they do not change. They try to change you. Right? So this is the frightening part here. That when they bring in people, they don't change. They don't change. They try to change you. Right? Right? And when they come in now, instead of you giving them, and they call the people unto the sacrifice of their gods, and all the people did eat and bow down to their gods. So that's the point I am making. You end up in a situation where they tie you up. You understand? Right? And we as Israel, we have to be very, very mindful of the times we are living in and where we are in the prophetic stream of time, and to guard every avenue of our soul. And Israel joined himself unto Baal Peor, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. Right? Right? So we have to be careful with all these churches coming in that are not believing what we believe and going into ecumenical arrangements. These things are very dangerous unto us. Understand? These things are very, very dangerous unto us. Right? We have to be very careful as a church, and even as even as even as I forget to read 25 verse 1. 25 verse 1, very important. It says here, and Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab. Right? And they called the people unto the sacrifice of their gods, and the people did eat and bow down to their gods. Right? And Israel joined himself unto Baal Peor, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. So my friends, we cannot afford to put ourselves in that kind of positions with the evangelicals or with the Catholics. Right? Those people back then did it physically. We know, and in that time, it was a physical and spiritual application. In our time now, we are doing a spiritual application by joining ecumenical movement. That's why I keep speaking against ecumenical engagements. We are not to put ourselves in that situation at all. You understand, my friends? We are not to put ourselves in that position. It is very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. Right? So let me get back now to the substantive. I just did a little come off for the Catholic, because for the life of me, I am going to pound them. Right? Not the people, no. What the Catholic Church stands for. The Roman Catholic Church must demand the right to freedom for herself alone. The Roman Catholic Church is to wield his vote for the purpose of securing Catholic ascension. What we are saying here, the Catholic people, right, must vote and put Catholics high up in offices, and that is what happened back in the day when the Catholic Church became a thing, right? A thing, right? And it exercised all the authority of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. The first beast was the Roman power, but was pagan Rome that went to papal Rome from 538 to 1798, that ended in 1798, right? That beast went down, and immediate after, the American nation was formed, right? So this is where we are going now. We are going right there, and it does great wonders, so that it makes fire come down from heaven onto the earth in the sight of men, and it deceives those dwelling on the earth because of the miracles which were given to it to do before the beast, saying to those dwelling on the earth that they should make an image to the beast who had lived the wound. So this is what I'm telling you, my friends. The evangelicals, and we have to look closely at the election that is coming up in America. I've said this many times on this channel. We have to look closely at what is happening, what is coming up in the elections with Kamala and Trump and so on. It does not matter who wins. Kamala is a big-time Catholic. Trump is in full support of the Catholic Church. It doesn't matter who wins, my friend. Right? They are going to put things in place to bring in the Sunday law. Right? And he had power. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship. And I'm telling people over and over and over, the issue is worship. This is what Revelation 13:15 says. It says it plain. Cause is the force. He will cause is the force. He will cause that as many as would not worship. Look at the word here, worship. The image, an image is a reflection. When you look in the mirror, you see an image of yourself. So exactly what happened in 538 to 1798, this is what will be perpetrated against the people of earth via America. Because if you are not keeping what they want you to do, right, you are a heretic. And if you are involved in heresy, you have to be excommunicated. Look at the reflection here again. Look at the reflection here again. Watch. This one here on the left hand side here, that is the Vatican. And this one here is in Washington, where they make all their laws. Doesn't these buildings look so much similar? It's like a pure reflection. Right? So we are seeing where God's law is pure, and the Pope now is coming to try to change the world. Right? How the Pope will change the world? The Pope want to change the world. He's a religious power. He talking about praying for people. That these guys are all about power. All about power. Right? Blaspheme against God. To blaspheme the name and his tabernacle and them that is all the Pope and them want to do. Blaspheme. Right? Right? Now I mentioned Mussolini in my talks in time past. Here we have a picture of papers in San Francisco Chronicle from February 11, 1929. Autographs to the memorable document healing the wound. Extreme cordiality was displayed on both sides. Right? Mussolini, right? I told you guys that. And Gasp, whoever that is, signs historic Roman when the deadly wound was healed. This is when the Catholic Church regained its political power. It was always there. It was always there. And power was given him over all kindred. It was always there. Right? It was always there. Right? They were worshipped by, and they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. Right? And they worshipped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to work more with him? Right? And he opened his mouth and blasphemed against God to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. Right? Right? So it's just like what Satan was saying in the book of Isaiah. Chapter 14 and verse 13. Right? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend unto heaven, and I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will be, has been saying all along, he want to be as the Most High. Right? He want to be on top. Right? He want to be on top. Who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called God, all that is worshipped, so that he is as God sitteth in the temple of God. Right? So I just give you back some of the texts we looked at earlier on. Right? Right? The image of the beast represents that form of apostate Protestantism, right, which will be developed when the Protestant church shall seek the aid of civil power of the enforcement of the. So we are seeing where the image of the beast is Protestant, apostate Protestantism. That is Protestantism that are in apostasy, in error. Right? They will go and bring civil powers together and get themselves in all kind of problems. Right? And as I told you before, there is no escaping the Pope is 666. His name is Vicarious Filii. And when you interpret those in Roman numerals, you always get 666. Right? And then you have all these different names that he used, Greek and Latin, right? All of them books out. Right? No. Them have the mark. No. And God have them have the mark. And God have his mark. Right? God mark is his sign and his seal. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having a seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice, to the four angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, and hurt not the sea, neither the earth, neither the sea, nor the tree, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. Revelation 7, 2 and verse 3. So God is telling us that we have to be sealed in our heads. Now when you are sealed in your head, that simply means that you have fully made up your mind. You have made up your mind in so much so that there is no way that you are going to change your mind. Right? Right? This is a seal here. So God has a seal. Right? Right? Moreover, also I gave them my Sabbaths, that they might be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am the Lord who. Right? My child crying down the place upstairs. All young, give me 2 seconds. Upstairs. troubleshoot everything. So sorry about that. Little break in transmission. Now the mouse now. Right. Back. Sorry about that. But family first sometimes. My wife is not well, so I had to assist her. Normally she would handle the situation, but she just not as good as before. She just improving, come alongside me. Please pray for her. Moreover, also, justify thinking and laws, right? They will think 25. The Pope, the Pope has power to change times, to abbreviate laws. Well, because the audio is high. Right, you see, people telling me the audio ain't good. I know my audio good. Right? So you all need to right. So The Pope has power to change time to and to dispense with things, even the precepts of Christ. And this is from these people's books. Jesus Christ, the same yesterday, today, and what specifically is the mark of the beast? The mark of the beast must be a sign of Roman chip, RFID chip. All these different of the beast, my friend. It is a type of control, but it is not the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is Sunday worship. The Roman Church is not. That is the mark of the beast. That is the mark of the beast. Of course, the Catholic Church claims that the change was her act, and the act is a mark of her ecclesiastical power and authority in religious matters. Right? This is from what they are Cardinal Gibbon. Right? So they have their, and these people are trying to pull wool over our eyes in these foolish ecumenical movements that they are having. Right? They are tell us foolish. They're coming to Adventism and catechalism in a church. They are trying to Sunday is the mark of our authority. The church is above the Bible, and the transfer of the Sabbath observance is proof of that fact. Catholic record September the 1st, 1922. On his tour of Poland in 1978, Pope John Paul II denounced excessive materialism and I was born in 1978. I'm not about 46 or 47, something wrong there. I lost. Again, I want to hear some Americans stand up and shout, give us justice, give us decency, and to when America catch a cold, whole world does sneeze, all of us does get it. So whatever happened in America, it will happen throughout the world. We cannot sit down and say we in a bubble, we in the Caribbean. These things, it will in fact. Look, saying here, saying this, Chief Justice of the United States, right, is greater. It, right, is Bernard, law of Boston, following. Okay. Use as a guide to judging. It should be clean and especially a bad. Chief Justice saying he was the Chief Justice in America, saying the one to understand the American Constitution. The wall of separation between church and state is a metaphor based on bad history. Same want me to say, and I've been saying that since 1978. Years upon years they have been saying that. And these things are now going to pass in our eh? The wall of separation between church and state that was erected by secular humanists and other enemies of religious freedom has to come down. Those who oppose our views and so are saying this is what they are saying to us. The laws of America, the new world order. Citizen civilization right when people can rest and have been treated as a violation of separation of church and state. So when we talk about the biblical Sabbath, he talking about please that fella as an outright insult towards God and his plan. Only those policies that can be shown to have a clear secular purpose. The word of God says in Ezekiel 20:12, moreover also I gave my Sabbaths that they might be a sign between me and them, that they might know that I am the Lord. And this is what a lot of people, they don't want to sacrifice anything. To save Sunday. When through the centuries she have made laws, right, concerning Sunday rest, the church has had in mind above all the work of the servants and the workers, certainly not being the work as many less be. It needed regularly enable everything. The 13th is encyclical Novaro spoke of Sunday rest as a worker's right which the state also don't strive to ensure that evil civil legislation respects their duty. The Sunday thing is here to stay. They ain't backing down on that. Hey, they ain't backing down on it at all. And the best way to honor Pope John Paul's true, the best way to honor Pope John Paul II, truly one of the great men, is to take his teaching seriously. Is to listen to the words he put in his teachings into actions here in America. This is the challenge we must accept. Guys, what John exercised all the power of the first beast before him and caused the earth and then to dwell therein to worship the first beast. It's talking like America. The unrestrained freedom of be reckoned worthy they have made it pellucidly clear. Venerable day of the sun, let the people reside in the cities and let all workshops be closed. AD. Out and get. You shouldn't push I'll work on that day. Lord's Day shall especially honor Council of Laodicea, Canon 29. So what they're saying is on a Saturday. See, decree against Sabbath keepers And I'm reading all these things into the record so that when you guys see this video, either now or later, you will understand. The bishops and the priests take care and not forbid under pain of excommunication every person from presuming to give reception or at least assistance to the followers this heresy of Toulouse, whenever they shall they to have dealings with them in buying or selling. That being so deprived of common assistance of life, they might be compelled to repent from this evil, from the evil of their ways. Whosoever shall dare to contravene this order, let them be excommunicated as a partner with them in guilt. As many of them can be found, let them be imprisoned by the Catholic prince and punished with the forfeiture of their substance. A ruling against the Waldensians in 1194. The banished of all Waldensians in 1194, right? And after they banished these people, the Bible, word for word, written that for centuries and sending out Bibles because they didn't have no printry at the time. To say, so what they say covered. Either way, they have to be any dealing with them in buying and selling. You cannot buy or sell. This with people that are buying even should not be able to buy or sell. This is why we have money. Everything where we have the central bank, the CBDC, and so on, where everything is going to be digital, where they could just buy money, and you have lost the ability to buy. All businesses, including gasoline stations and restaurants, should be by force of legislation that through the duty elected officials of the we were studying this morning when we were studying, right, where the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar got a dream about the whole kingdom, the whole history of the world to be good. Now when you hear the sound of all kinds of music, so we have to be very careful. Listen to these evangelical music. I only listen to Adventist people singing. Some I do cover songs. I just afraid. I'm trying my utmost best.
All right. Um, TikTok has brought me back on the live. Telling those about 1,000 subs. I was doing live about that and stuff. That become phone I have do live via.
Yes, my friends. My camera battery is. And I'm realizing that the camera battery lasts for an hour and a half. So in my next live or anything else, so I won't cut off midstream, right? Forgive me again. Forgive me again. All right. So this is the end of the live here, and all you guys have a good night. God